warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Is Irfan bin Abdul. My nomenclature is AA191629. So, I will present to you about impact of jet. So, for the theory of impact of jet, water turbines are widely used throughout the planet to get power. Within the sort of water turbine mentioned as a Pelton wheel, one or more water jets are directed tangentially to vanes that are fastened to the rim of the turbine disc. The impact of the water on the vane generates a torque on the wheel, causing it to rotate and develop power. Although the concept is actually simple, such as turbine can generate considerable output at high efficiency when a jet of water flowing with gentle velocity strikes a solid surface. The water is deflected to flow along the surface. Its friction is neglected by assuming and it viscid fluid, and it's also assumed that there are not any losses thanks to the shock. Then the magnitude of the water velocity is unchanged. The pressure exerted by the water on the solid surface will everywhere be right at angle to the surface. During this experiment, we measure the force generated by jet water of water striking a flat plate or a hemispherical cup, and the lastly is 120 conical cup, and compare the result with the compute momentum flow within the jet, the impulse within the jet. The impulse force exerted on the target are going to be equal and opposite to the force which act on the water to impact the change in direction. Next is I will explain to you about our objective to this experiment of impact of jet. The objective is to demonstrate the force on the vane is proportional to the speed of delivery of momentum. Next, to point out to you that simply can predict the force on the vane from a mixture of its surface shape and therefore the properties of the jet directed at it. Last but not least is to measure the reaction force produced by the impact of water jet on the vane, which shape varies. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Ali Riza bin Saharuddin. My number matrix is AA191517, and I will continue this lab presentation with the procedure. First is install the target vane on the load beam. Start with the flat plane and tighten the retaining screw. And number two is the cover plate also can be installed alongside the target if it had been necessary. Number three is put the jockey wake on the load beam. It is Y0 position. Number four is level the beam or set it to the balance position by adjusting the adjusting nut. And the balance position is indicated by the tally. Number five is switch on the MOS switch. Switch on the MOS switch of the facility supply, and confirm that the water valve may be fully closed and conditioned to avoid the flow from straight out of the system once we turn on the pump. Number six is switch on the pump by pushing the switch button on the digital hydraulic bench. And number seven is slowly open the valve on the water inlet until it reach fully open condition. Number eight is move the jockey until the beam is balanced again, and then record the reading of flow rate and distance of Y. Number 9 is move the jockey again to the left to the Y0 direction and a particular inferential in order that you will obtain about 5 set knowledge. And number 10 is repeat step B for an additional 4 set of knowledge to end the flow plate experiment. And then repeat experiment using the conical and hemispherical cup and make bound to close the inlet water valve and off the pump to subsequent target. And number 12 is to end the experiment slowly. To end the experiment, slowly close the water inlet valve. Cut the pump also can be also because the main supply. Make some skipper accessories including the target, jockey weight and rotating screw inside the provided box. And this is how the to run this procedure of this lab. And I will pass this presentation to our next presenter. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ahmad Salih bin Abdul Latif. My metric number is 88190177. So I'm going to continue the presentation for the experimental data and results. This is the data for the flat plate target. Okay, so for the distance, the data one is 0.073 meter. The flow rate is per minute is 0.464. The flow rate meter square per second is 0.000464. And the mass flow rate is 0.464, the velocity 5.916, and the initial velocity is 5.858. The mass flow rate is the flow rate times the initial velocity is 2.718. The force is 2.718, and the that's the theory force, and the actual force is 2.864. Okay, so next the second one is 0.063 for the distance, 0.4450 for the flow rate, and 0.000450 for the flow rate meter square per second, 0.450 for the mass flow rate, and 5.738 for the velocity. Initial velocity is 5.678, and the mass flow rate time initial velocity is 2.555. For the theoretical force is 2.55, and the actual force is 2.472. That's 0.053 for the distance, 0.403 for the flow rate, 0.000 is flow rate meter square per second, 0.403 for the mass flow rate, 5.138 is the velocity, and 5.071 is the initial velocity, and the mass flow rate time velocity is 2.044. The theoretical force is 2.044, and the actual force is 2.080. That's 0.043. The flow rate is 0.363. The flow rate meter square per second is 0.0003603. My bad. The max flow rate is 0.363, and the velocity is 4.628, while the initial velocity is 4.553. The max flow rate time velocity is 1.653, and the force is 1.653 for the theory and 1.687 for the actual. The last one is 0.033, and flow rate is 0.312. The flow rate is 0.00312 meters square per second, 0.312 for the mass flow rate too, and 3.978 for the velocity, and velocity is 3.891. So mass flow rate velocity is 1.28, 1.214, and the theoretical force is 1.214, and the actual force is 1.295. Next, so for the data for 120 degrees conical target, 0.088 for the distance, 0.461 flow rate, 0.00461 is the meter square per second, 0.461 is the mass flow rate, 5.878 is the velocity, 5.819 is the initial velocity, and mass flow rate and velocity is 2.683. The theoretical force is 2.683. The actual force is 3.453. Second, distance 0.078 meter, 0.440, 0.0000440. The flow rate meter cubic per second, 0.440. The mass flow rate 5.610, 5.548 for the initial velocity, and mass flow rate and velocity is 2.441. The theoretical force is 2.441, and the actual force is 3.061. For the distance number 3 is 0.068. Flow rate for the flow rate is 0.406. 0.0000406 is the meter cubic per second, and 0.406 is the mass flow rate. The velocity is 5.177, 5.110 is the initial velocity. Mass flow rate times initial velocity is 2.075, 2.075 theory, 2.668 is the actual force. 0.058 is the distance, 0.376 is flow rate, 0.000376 is the cubic per second, 0.376 is the mass flow rate, 4.794 is the velocity, and 4.722 is the initial velocity, and mass flow rate time velocity is 1.775, 1.775 theory, and 2.276 is the actual. Last one, 0.048 distance, 0.350 flow rate, 0.000350 is the flow rate meter cubic per second, and 0.350 is the flow rate. The velocity is 4.463 and the initial velocity is 4.385. The mass flow rate times velocity is 1.535. The theoretical force is 1.535 and the actual force is 1.25. Okay, for the last one, hemispherical cup target. Okay, first of all, the distance is 0.126 meter. The flow rate is 0.462. The flow rate meter cubic per second is 0.00462. The mass flow rate is 0.462 and the velocity is 5.891. The initial velocity is 5.832. The mass flow rate time velocity is 2.69 and so the theoretical force is 2.694, but the actual force is 4.994, 4.944. Okay, the distance for the second one is 0.116. The flow rate and the mass flow rate for others is same, so 0.442 is the flow rate and mass flow rate, 0.00442 is the meter cubic per second. Velocity is 5.636. Velocity initial velocity is 5.575. The mass flow rate velocity is 2.464. The theoretical force is 2.464 and the actual force is 4.552. Okay, for the third one is 0.106 meter, 0.424 for the flow rate and mass flow rate, 0.000424 is the flow rate meter cubic per second, 5.406 is the velocity, 5.342 is the velocity, initial velocity. Mass flow rate in initial velocity is 2.265 and the theoretical force is 2.265 and the actual force is 4.159. Second last one is 0.096 meter, 0.401 the flow rate and the mass flow rate. 0.00401 is the flow rate meter cubic per second. 5.113 is the velocity and the initial velocity is 5.045. The mass flow rate time velocity is 2.023 and the force theoretical force is 2.023 while the actual force is 3.767. The distance, the last one is 0.086. Flow rate is 0.378 like the mass flow rate. The flow rate is 0.000378 meter cubic per second. 4.820 is the velocity and 4.748 is the initial velocity. Mass flow rate and initial velocity is 1.795. So the theoretical force is 1.7695 while the actual force is 3.375. We're going to the next one. Okay, now for the discussion. For the first one, the slope for the flat plate target graph is 1 meter for both theoretical and actual force value. The 130 degrees conical cap target features a value for theoretical force indicates to 1.4 Newton and 1 Newton for actual force value. The hemispherical vane is 1.7 Newton for theoretical value and 1 Newton for actual force value. As we will see, the theoretical force value is slightly above the actual force. This is often happen thanks to the presence of friction within the pipe. The next one. Second one, from the experiment that we conducted, we are having the ability to get both theoretical and actual results for various frames. Supported the result, we can see that the theoretical force values for those three vanes are over the values of the particular force. Thanks to the friction between the water and pipe surface is flowing through the pipe, the hemisphere vane has the very best value of the particular force. Meanwhile, the flat plane target obtain the minimum actual force. We can also observe that the hemispherical target needs a really touch of rate compared to the flat target and 120 degrees conical cup vane, the smaller than flat plate vane and hemispherical vane. Additionally, the particular force for the flat vane greater than the 120 degree conical cup vane, but the hemispherical cup, by that it shows that the particular force were less than theoretical required force.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Irfan Akil bin Azmi. My metric number is AA191177. So I will present the last part, which is conclusion and recommendation. So as a conclusion, the experiment that has been administered was successful, albeit the info collected are a touch bit different compared to the theoretical value. The difference between the theoretical value and therefore the actual value may mainly flow from human and repair factors like parallax error. This error occurs during the observers captured the worth of the water level. This error may occur because the water valve was not completely closed during the collecting the water. This might affect the time taken for the water to be collected. The advice to beat the error is to make sure that the position of the observer's eyes must be 90 degree perpendicular to the reading or the position. Then, make sure that the apparatus functioning perfectly to urge an accurate result. That's all from me. Thank you.